Hello everyone, my name is Terry Eland and I will be going through the Moodle page and the outline with you guys in this video to make sure that you're up and running for the semester that is starting. So, first and foremost, the outline. So, in essence, this is a spring accelerated course. You have quickly, if I go through, and I'll go through it more on the Moodle page later, you have 5 different regular kind of quizzes. These quizzes consist of 10 questions and you have 20 minutes to answer them. So if it's on multiple chapters, well, the total of all those 3 chapters will be 10 questions. Then at the very end of the semester, you have this evaluated quiz on all chapters, which should be used as a quiz to make sure that you're ready for the final exam. So you have up till that first day of final exams to complete it. You could do it anytime you feel ready. That one's going to be 25 questions, and instead of only having 50 minutes to do it, I'll give you an hour and a half, which is more in line with the amount of time per question that you have access on the midterm and the final exam. So at the end of the day, you have less time per questions on the quizzes. You should still be fine, but on the midterm and final, you are good to go. So for all of these quizzes, midterm and final, you are expected to answer these with your own knowledge. You're not supposed to have access to your notes or to the internet or anything else. So all of these will rely on online proctorio, and I will be looking through the scenarios, the situations where proctorio signals that there might have been some cheating going on. And if cheating did occur, well, you won't pass the class and you're going to get reported. So that's the situation that we got going on. So you have 2 different grading schemes for all of these quizzes and midterm. Essentially, the midterm is always worth 30%, but the quizzes could either be worth less or more, in the final exam less or more. But you need to pass the final exam to pass the class, because I don't want to have students who just do really well on the quizzes in the midterm, but they completely bomb the final exam. The pass grade in this class is 50%, so that's what you need total, and at least that on the final exam. So when it comes to the quizzes, there's 5 normal ones, 1 evaluated quiz on all chapters, so you have a total of 6, and it's either going to be the best 5 out of those 6. So if you miss a quiz for some random reason, well then make sure that you do all the others, and that quiz will be the one that won't be counted. If you do all 6 quizzes, well, whichever one has the lowest grade will be the one that will be removed. And then these weeks, the way that they're formatted, it's the Monday till the Sunday. You have the full week to do all of these quizzes and midterm. It's only the final exam that you have only 2 days. And in all of these cases, you want to be done, not starting, but be done with the quiz or midterm by 5 p.m. on the final day. I used to set it up as midnight, but the problem with midnight is that some students would wait till the very last minute, then go through some technical difficulties, and I'd get a series of emails close to midnight, and that's not ideal. So 5 p.m. is your cutoff time for all of these to be finished. So if you have 20 minutes, make sure you start before 4:40, because it's automatically gonna close at 5. And then if you look at all of the chapters that are covered, you could see all of this in the outline. And then otherwise, the common question with regards to textbook, do I need the most recent edition? No, that's just the most recent one. The notes and the questions revolve around that, but if you have the 8th edition, it also works. So coming back to this Moodle page, so the outline that I just went through is here. The Bishop's map, if ever we were to meet on campus, is here to show you where my office is located. Summertime though, I don't normally go to the campus. I'm easier to reach by email and to set up Teams meetings, but if need be, I'll come and see you on campus. I'm around. Then you have the link for the textbook, then the notes in full format, and the notes in printer friendly format. So in full format is this version that has 1 slide per page. So if you're looking at it on a computer, you have the full format here. And then the printer friendly format is if you were to send it to a print shop or to your own printer and you want to have 4 slides per page. You could essentially do that with this first version. It's just, I make it easy for you if ever you wanted to just have the file to send to the print shop and not have to have them print over 300 pieces of paper, to have less so you could take on notes. If you go to the print shop on campus, they normally have some of these pre-printed out. Otherwise, just ask them to do it and they'll do it for you. Then all of my lectures could be found via this YouTube link. And otherwise, if you go through any of the weeks, you could see like week 1 videos. Well, this just shows which videos you should be looking at for week 1. Here's just a link to my YouTube page for this specific class, and it has all of the videos there. Either way works. It's the same videos. It's just one's just showing you everything, and the other one's just showing you what are the videos that you should do for that specific week. Then when COVID hit, I didn't want people to spend all of their days on computers, so I created kind of this audio series for each of the chapters to allow people when they're driving, when they're hiking, when they're doing something else and staring at a screen, they could keep learning. So these, when you click on it, they're not necessarily in order. Look at the macro one, since this is the macro class, and then start from 1 till whatever week you're on. Just note that the format here, if I were to go through it, it takes a bit of time to load, is based on having many different weeks. So when it comes to this specific class, since it's condensed, you'd probably want to condense them as well. So just make sure you look for the macro episodes and start from the beginning. So GDP calculation would be our chapter 5, and then so on and so forth. So you could look at that to keep on learning. Otherwise, just the files that are relevant to macro are here. And use those as an intro or a review of the class. The way I do it is I assume that you don't have a screen in front of you, so you can't see the graph. I try to describe it in a different way. And each of those are maybe half an hour, so they're shorter than the material. It just gives you a good intro or a good review of what should be known. Then within the textbook, you have the assigned questions that you should do to practice. And I'll just change this so you could open it on the screen, but otherwise you'll see the chapters and which questions there are. And then you have all of the solutions for those questions, for those end of chapter questions here for the 9th edition, but if you were to have the 8th edition, you have it here. When you go through those, the advantage with macros with the answers is also the question. Therefore, if you did not buy the book, it's not a required book, you can still practice those questions, and I definitely encourage you to do so. So all of those questions could be found, and the answers could be found in those files. But I'd say not all material is relevant and needed to pass this class and to do well on the quizzes. So I would say focus on the assigned questions. There might be some material in there that you're like, well, we never learned this. Well, the thing that works with me is that if there's something that's never been covered in any of the videos or any of the content, you should not expect to see that on any examination. If ever there's a quiz question, midterm, final question that you're like, I don't know how I should have been able to answer this other than this section in the textbook, which you didn't talk about, well, I will give you that question right. If ever you find a question that there was no way for you to know the answer, I'll give it to you right. And honestly, it's never really happened. I'll always find exactly which slide it was on and how to help you out in that. So just be aware of that. Proctorio information for students. Make sure that the plugin is installed. And I'll just skip this for a second because I'm talking about Proctorio. There is a test Proctorio quiz that has no value, and it's just a test to plug in on your computer. So make sure that you go through that to make sure that it's working, so that whenever you're ready to click and do the first quiz, that everything should be working. If ever you lose your computer or borrow someone's computer or work on someone else's, go through this process again, regardless of when it is in the semester, and then you'll be good to go to do whichever quiz you're at now. This first section here, as I had, is a bit of micro review for the people who haven't done it before. It's not the end of the world if you haven't done it. It just goes through some of the basic concepts. It's just supply and demand. And there's some of the videos that are linked there, and some of the notes from my micro class are there too. This will never be evaluated. It's just good knowledge to have to do well when it comes to aggregate demand and aggregate supply later on in the semester. So if I look at this first week block, there's 3 chapters to cover, and within those 3 chapters, only the first chapter is evaluated in that first quiz, and you have to do it within that first week. So probably the first half of the week you'll be on this chapter, and then the second half this, and during that second half you can do the quiz. So these notes here, it's redundant. It's the same exact notes that you have in that larger file with the printer-friendly format that I had above. It's just that this is only chapter 5, only chapter 6, and only chapter 7 notes. So instead of having that file with 350 or 300 whatever slides, you just have that section. These are just those videos. So all of this first section here is redundant from information that you have up above. What's new is practice quizzes, and then evaluated quizzes are the most important parts. And then this section here is just a series of articles or videos that are related to the material covered. You won't be quizzed on those. It's just good applications. Some of them are older. It's not the end of the world. It still goes through some of the applications of what you learn in that specific week. So for each of the practice quizzes, you have unlimited attempts. These are worth nothing. And they generally consist of 5 questions. It's the same 5 questions. It's just that every time you do it, you might have a different ordering of the questions. So in my video explanation of how to answer those questions, it might not be in the same order, but in these video links here, you should be able to see the thought process I went through to answering those specific questions. So if you go through the question and then you finish the quiz and you see what you got wrong, but you still don't get it, watch the video. It's going to help you out understand, like, how should you have gone through to answering this question. So it's as if I was explaining how to answer this specific question in class, and I did that for every single question of all of the practice quizzes. And then every week's the same kind of thing, these redundant notes and videos from above, then the practice quizzes, some articles or videos, and then the evaluated quiz. In this accelerated summer format, you have a quiz every week, and one of the weeks, instead of having a quiz, you have a midterm, and then you have other quiz down here, and then the final quiz on all, and then the final exam. So all of this will be up and running for you. Nothing too complicated than all of that. So like I said, the videos or articles are extra, just good things to practice. And then make sure that you keep on track. So instead of giving you guys like the whole semester to do everything, you have a specific week for everything, just to make sure that you're following this nice pace and that you don't fall back and that you're not just cramming it all in at one specific moment. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm not going anywhere throughout the summer. You can reach me via email at my email address. I'm not always on Teams. It's pretty rare actually that Teams is open. So if you send me a message on Teams, what typically happens if Teams is not open is after a complete hour, Teams sends me an email to let me know that you wrote me whatever message you wrote me. So if you want to reach me faster, typically email is the fastest because that's what's operating on all of my devices at all times, and that's the one I'll kind of pick up on the quickest. However, if you want to speak to me, well, just write me on email and say, I'd like to speak to you on Teams. I'll be there at this time, and I'll let you know. I'll say like, okay, perfect. Let's meet Tuesday at 10 a.m. And it doesn't really matter what time it is. Like my schedule's super flexible, so I didn't set office hours because pretty much any hour is an office hour for me any day of the week. So just let me know ahead of time what works for you, and I'll try to be as available as possible. So if on Tuesday morning you hit a snag, write me right away and let me know. And if I'm on a computer at that time, I'll respond as quickly as I can. So I hope you have a great semester. If you have any questions, reach out, let me know, and hopefully you do watch this video to make sure that you're not asking questions on any of this structure. I wish you all the best. Have a great summer.